Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Jose Bermejo, Jose here, and we're going to get started with the lighting lesson, create your go-to-market strategy with artificial, in this case with Notion AI. Now, where all this coming from, I built predictable innovation strategy, which is a go-to-market strategy company, and while working on it and trying to make more efficient my process, I found out that artificial intelligence can be a big step ahead. So all of this is coming from implementing these prompts for my own business. So they are battle tested in different projects. I'm not fully replacing in any way the customer interviews and the customer research. That still should be done. That's something that we can discuss during the Q&A. But what I found is that for some use cases, mostly for research and for brainstorming, artificial intelligence can help us to reduce up to 40% of our time. That is what I'm going to teach you today. What is the agenda? 2 minutes introduction. Where is this coming from? That's what I've already introduced you all. This is coming from real world scenarios, and those prompts that I'm going to share with you all are prompts that I typically use in ChatGPT, but then I've aggregated it all in Notion, so you can have all at hand. And then 25 minutes of a demo in which I will go through all the prompts and use cases. I don't know if we will have time for all of them because there are around 50 of them, but explaining all the process and sharing with you real world examples of real projects that I went through. And then during the last 5 to 10 minutes, it will be a do and don't with AI because I've been working with this I started in January of 2020, of last year, 2023, with AI. So it's been around 1 year and a half working with all of this. And yeah, I've learned a lot that I think that it will be interesting for you to know and you don't make the same mistakes that I've been doing when working with AI, right? Now, before we get started and we go through the demo, I want to share with you all that this is just scratching the surface, this lighting lesson. I have an upcoming cohort in which we will be digging deeper in the first part of market research and a little bit of positioning to gain a deep understanding on customer research, on competitor research, and all the part of market research and industry research to accelerate all the research process. So this cohort at Maven is coming next week, and here is $100 discount plus a free 30 minutes one-to-one consultation with this code you can have right here. You will receive this code once we finish this lesson in your email inbox. But in case you want to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot, and this code will expire in the next 72 hours. Here are some testimonials of product marketers, innovators, and founders that went through my course. Now, time to get into the Notion, right? Let me share with you my Notion. Go to the chat. You can have access to this Notion. You can duplicate it for you, and you can go through it as I am going also. Or probably because right now it's too rush for you all, you can just listen and then you can practice on your own. But this Notion, you can access it. Now, a little bit of introduction to my go-to-market strategy approach, because there are a lot of different approaches to go-to-market strategy. So to me, and this is the approach that we have in my company, we first understand where to compete, because before moving, so for more established companies, the go-to-market motions are more like all the tactics related with product-led growth, partnerships motions, sales motions, marketing motions, and all of that. But when we talk with an innovation about more an early stage startup, the go-to-market strategy is more like the positioning strategy, right? Which is understanding who is the ICP, what problems do we solve, and all of that. So to me, the approach, the go-to-market strategy is both, right? So first we go through answering the question, where should we compete? Which is the market analysis, the market audience and use case prioritization, understanding the behavioral profile of the potential buyers, if they are early adopters, if they are mainstream buyers, and their frictions and objections to buy. With all of that, we create the middle layer, which is the positioning strategy, the point of view, the strategic narrative, the key messages. And then with that is when we can start distributing and start competing. And the way that we approach how to compete is going through each step of the buyer's journey. The buyer educates on the problem they want to solve. At the very beginning, they don't know they have a problem, so we have to educate them on that problem. The second step, they would, once they know and they understand and they acknowledge they have a problem, they would seek for solutions and discover solutions and educate themselves on solutions. The next step is they would purchase a solution, building that committee and building a top 3 solution to evaluate. The next step is they would adopt that solution within their end user base, and then they would diffuse or not, depending on how happy they are, and talk word of mouth about our solution. And that enters again in the problem education. So this is a flywheel that we like to use when approaching go-to-market strategy. Now, let's go through all of this step by step. There is a lot to digest here. All of these are the steps. So first step is where to compete, right? And it all starts with market and industry research. So the idea is at the very beginning, we are researching if we are in an innovation stage. We don't know much about our market category, who are we competing with, and what is our idea about. We don't know much about the pain point that we're solving, not even about our product. So the approach for market and industry research is more like a generalistic approach. So in the prompt, we're going to provide contextual information to the AI. And remember, the more context we provide, the better the answer. So if we're not getting accurate answers, the problem is on us, because that means we're not providing the right answers from the AI, or not specific enough answers. That means that we are not specific enough for the AI. That being said, there are some use cases that even though we are very specific, the AI won't be super specific with us. Now here we can introduce our industry, our target geography, our market category, and our product technology description. So in this case, we're using this real world market category, which is site reliability engineering products in the USA. And specifically, our product is an incident management platform. So it's a B2B software, and we want to research the market and industry. So here what we have is a prompt to discover industry trends and hot topics, start scratching the surface about what's going on in the industry. So as always, we start by telling the AI the type of expertise that we want the AI to take. That's very important, because it's not the same to get the expertise or to work like a product marketing expert than working like a content expert or like a strategist or like a financial advisor, right? Those are different types of expertise. So we have to tell the AI, hey, I want you to mimic this type of expertise. That's how the right prompt. You're 20 years industry expert in the industry market category and technology mentioned in the context section. So we are referencing this to the context section. We're using ChatGPT. We won't say the context section. We will remove this and we will include this context within the same prompt. So the point is, maybe you are not using Notion AI, because to run through all of these prompts, you need to pay for Notion AI. Maybe most people already know they're using ChatGPT, and I always get this question. Can I use these prompts in ChatGPT? Yes, you can. The difference is the context section, right? Here we're using this context section. In ChatGPT, you will have to embed this context section within your prompt. Here is separated. This is the context section, and then we have a prompt here. You want to move this to ChatGPT, you copy this prompt, you copy the context, put it below this prompt, and then press intro and change about this that I'm saying mentioned in the context section. Now create bullet points list of hot trends, market or economic condition that I must consider when innovating a new product in the mentioned technology is incident management platform. Provide links to URLs of each source. So what the AI is providing us are these URLs of market research assets that we can use. Then I'm going to move very quickly with all these. Good news is that because I'm sharing this with you, you have access to all these prompts, right? The point is that there is no enough time to go through each of them. So what I'm going to do is just go real fast through all of them. Okay, Albert, thanks for your questions. Thanks for all your questions. We will move into the Q&A by the end of the session, and then I will go through all your questions, and hopefully there will be a nice debate here. Okay. So far, I'm going to focus in the different prompts. The second prompt is discover potential sources of market confusion, right? This is very important because we don't want to position our solution with a term or a market category that is driving confusion, or at least if we don't have enough money to clear that confusion for the market. If we have enough money and resources to become category creators and educate all the market and remove all that source of confusion, we can do it. But if not, you don't want to use a term that is confusing for the end user. So with this prompt, what I'm asking is, again, we start with the same section. You are a 20 years industry expert. And I'm asking, are my industry and market confused around the market category or technology I'm willing to provide? Create a list of terms or product categories that may be overlapped and confuse my buyers. Explain how these terms or categories can be confusing. And then he says that these are some overlapping for incident management platforms, IT incident management tools, site monitoring tools, IT service management tools. And the AI is explaining how this can be confused with the category that we are researching and that we want to use. Then we have here questions and prompts for discovering what customers may want next in terms of analyzing the trends and what is the maturity stage of the market to understand if we are launching the product in the right category and if the category that we're targeting can have good business, let's say. The next one is a prompt to discover barriers of product adoption or hesitations to buy. Here, the prompts are very similar. What changes is the question because this is researching, right? So here the question is what objections and concerns may prevent decision makers from adopting this kind of technology or product. Be specific by explaining how each concern or objection relates to the goals or workflows. I always try to emphasize what is the point of my question, because otherwise the answer can be too broad, right? So I always try to, after the question, emphasize what I want the AI to be more specific about. Then we have a prompt about discover the risk perception of adopting our technology in product and the market maturity and more research resources to where can we navigate to research about all of this space. And the last prompt is discover market stats. And here we're getting market stats about the size of incident management industry, the adoption rate of AI-powered incident management tools, the expected market size, the importance of real-time incident visibility analytics, and all the sources related with all this data. This is very interesting for this type of market research. Now, next step is opportunity and target discovery. The first research was more generalistic, and now we want to know more about our target audience. That's why the context is more specific. So the more specific answer and the more advanced in our go-to-market, the more specific we have to be for the AI to understand all our target audience. So before we didn't have any target segment or application use case or buyer or end user. Now we're becoming more specific with all of that. In this case, the example is a virtual reality tool, and the product is a super realistic software that can create representations in virtual reality. This is for real estate. So we are in the market real estate, and we're marketing a virtual reality tool that can create super realistic representations of condos in virtual reality for buyers of condos. So we are asking about discovering potential segments. Who can be my audience, basically? Who could be interested on this, right? So here, the prompt is, I would say, a little bit more common. We start always saying, you are an innovation consultant for context. Context is the section in context that we have here. Your client is asking to understand what opportunity to target within the industry context. They want you to consider all types of processes, segments, and use cases. So I want you to dig deep into everything that's going on in our target audience. Your work is to, first of all, explore and list 3 potential segments to target this technology. Define a segment as the type of company and the buyer's role within the industry and context. This is very important. If we don't tell the AI what a segment means for us, it could be anything Could be from a persona to an industry to a company size, whatever, to a job title, right? Even a pain point. So we have to be very specific again with all the asks. Provide a list of 3 potential applications or use cases to target. Okay, so someone is, in case someone is experiencing also this issue. Jacob is telling me that the document is not clickable. Actually, it's not clickable for anyone. So what you can do is you can duplicate. If you go to the top right hand, you should have a button. This is, or I don't know if Notion changed it, but you should be able to duplicate this document in your workspace. If I make this document clickable, everyone will miss this document because we are live working in this document. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want this to be clickable because I am using it. So the point is that each of you should duplicate these templates into your Notion workspace. Exactly. Now, let's move forward. So, and then provide a list of 3 potential applications or use cases to target with this technology, right? Because we're not telling the industry, so what's going on here in the answer of this prompt? We're not telling that our target industry, real estate here, right? So because we are not specifying that industry, the answer is broader because it's going and it's telling us, hey, this could be for real estate development companies targeting project managers, for oil and gas companies, and for manufacturing companies, and potential applications and use cases for each of those segments. The more we narrow down and provide contextual information, the more narrowed down will be the answer of the AI. These are references. What I encourage you is to play with this. Sometimes you have the buyer and the end user. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have the industry. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have the target segment, and see how AI comes up with different angles, right? Then we have prompts of discovering the challenges and the struggles of your users. How can you see the prompt, by the way? Here, and then the prompt will pop. And you can copy and paste this prompt as said in ChatGPT or in your notebook, or just use it in Notion AI if you're paying for Notion AI. So for each of these generated answers, you will be able to click either in update, you can change the context and click update, and it will regenerate the answer. Now it's regenerating the answer. Or you can click here, copy and paste this into ChatGPT. Now, if we move forward, we have more prompts. Stage 3, about customer profiling and SCP analysis. Look how context is becoming bigger and bigger, because the farther we narrow down, the more contextual information we are providing, and the better the answers of the AI. And this is just following the innovation process at the very beginning. We launch an innovation. Most of the times it's, I would say, horizontal to multiple use cases and to multiple ICPs. We still don't know what is the product market fit. Once we know the market, we have a lot of contextual information we can provide to the AI to narrow it down. So to do the customer profiling, we need a lot of information because it's very specific about understanding the customer pain points. Now, this is a prompt for understanding the end user journey. Here again, we start telling, here actually, I told the AI to mimic Tony Ulwick, the inventor of jobs to be done. And I am asking, provide the answer with the next structure. I want to start a step-by-step numbered customer journey with a detailed process of how the end user is going through all the steps related to our product. And inside each numbered step in the customer journey process, define the jobs to be done, the performer wants to achieve, the end user, and the pain points or struggles for each of these steps. So this is what it is providing: customer journey for each role, then the job to be done, and the pain points by each step of the customer journey, and then a summary of the pain points and the jobs to be done. We have, of course, more prompts about understanding the ICP, understanding the audience, end user feedback, summary for public reviews. This is a prompt here. For example, here I'm saying use the URL of the end user feedback in the section context to provide, and you bullet those steps I want a summary of how the reviewers are using the tool, a list of use cases or jobs to be done they are performing, summary of things. And I'm asking the AI to become very specific on the keywords, on the information requested on those reviews. So what I'm asking here, the AI, is I'm saying, hey, go to this URL, which is a G2 URL with customer feedback. Now, it's going to read the URL in real time with the updated reviews of this G2 page. No, this AI is not going to access the internet and read these G2 reviews. So it's going to access the internal database of the LLM. In this case, Notion AI is using uh, Anthropic and OpenAI, and depends on where that LLM database is cut off, it will have more or less customer interviews. So this is why this type of tool is not the best to access the internet and, let's say, provide a summary of reviews and things like that. But still works. But it's not going to be up to date because it's not going to access in real time through the internet. So here I have prompts for sense of urgency to act on this problem right now, discovering budgets, assessing objections to adopt or buy this product, assessing the risk of buying this product. And then, because we don't want to substitute customer interviews for AI, we have prompts to copy and paste here the interviews. So, for example, this is a customer interview, and this is a database that is going to automatically read the interview. And according to each of these prompts that I have created, it is going to generate the jobs to be done, the outcomes, and the pain points extracting from the interviews. These prompts are created inside each of the fields. So this is like magic. We add the customer interview there, and then it's going to auto-populate all the jobs to be done, outcomes, and pains coming from this interview based on the prompt that I have implemented. So that's to keep understanding the analysis. Then we have you have prompts for competitor research, which is also very important for your positioning strategy and understanding why competitors win. I'm here asking the AI, hey, tell me why competitors win, which basically is how they differentiate or what is it that the customers see themselves to win. Compensating behaviors alternatives, each competitor analysis. I'm running because I'm running out of time. But as said, you have this, and I'm going to share it again because some of you was asking. Remember, you have to duplicate it, go to the chat, open this template, duplicate it, and you can use it by your own. You can change everything, or you can copy and paste the prompts into OpenAI, Gemini, or the LLM that you are using, for example, Anthropic. Now, positioning angles is we have all this context. We already have the market category, the product technology, the key differentiators. We have the target segment. We have the use case that we're targeting. We have the end users that we want to target. And we have the current approach of the end users, meaning that what is the status quo? If we are creating a disruptive or brand new innovation, we are fighting against status quo. That's peer behavior. So we have to overcome that status quo and we have to sell against the status quo, to position against the status quo. So we are telling the AI what is the current approach. So what I'm asking is the AI to brainstorm different ways of framing the problem to fight against the status quo and different angles to fight against status quo, which can call them points of views. For example, they are framing angles, positioning angles, or points of view. So this is, again, we're still in the work to compete and understanding how can we compete through different positioning angles, right? And differentiate from the current approach. Now, once we have this clear is when we can move forward into messaging a narrative, which is basically enable the how we compete, the competition. So you can have prompts of product level messaging. And here is when we use prompts to build key positioning messages about the current approach of the end user versus the new approach that we are providing them with our product. And also, those are messages about the penalties, about the benefits, about the product capabilities. And here in this database, you can access through editing the properties. And in the autofill, you have the prompt to create the statement. So you populate the database, and then with this, you update the message, and then prompts to create messages around the main problem to solve, the value proposition. And this is still research and understanding, keep understanding economic market conditions that that can help us to frame the problem and an elevator pitch. So that is product level messaging. Then we have brand level messaging. And the context, it gets bigger and bigger, right? We create messages for the brand intangible elements, which are more what I call them risk reductors, because when a category becomes into the mainstream, the way to win is not that much about differentiation, but it's about gaming a low risk choice, a low risk vendor. So intangibles is about reducing the risk perception of the buyer. So this is a way to create those messages, vision statement angles, mission statement angles, and then narrative and enablement. Look how the context, how big the context has become at this step, right? Because when we're creating storytelling, the AI needs everything. And imagine if we're a marketer, we need everything. We need to understand the benefits. We need to understand the key differentiators, the brand intangibles, market context, and all of that. Okay. And then here we have prompt for strategic narrative, 5 different steps, and a sales pitch deck also. And the narrative as a problem, agitation, solution. So you have different prompts to create different angles for the strategic narrative and the sales pitch. Now, once we have enabling the competition is where we can move to the growth flywheel, right? Is how do we educate the customer? And the way to educate the customer, again, context is bigger. We can ask the AI to understand the potential frictions along the buyer's journey, because the key to sell more is to overcome all those frictions. So at every step, the buyer needs to make micro decisions. It is not as easy as book a demo, right? They are thinking about, okay, how much time do I need for a demo? I am in the right time right now. Why should I spend time on going through the demo? Are they going to hard sell me on the demo? What can they expect, right? So every time they click on something and make a micro decision, they are thinking about hesitations. They are assessing the risks, the uncertainties. So this is a prompt to have ideas on where our potential buyers for our product in context are potentially hesitating to move forward along this journey, right? And this is pure behavioral science. So we have to educate in the problem, the end user and the buyer, the buying community. So this is a prompt to ideate or get communities, podcasts, and online magazines in where our buyers are going to learn about problems, to educate themselves, to get industry trends, and so on. So that's where we should be educating the customer. So to become a top mind solution. And the same for events and conferences. Here we have a prompt in which the AI is giving us target conferences to speak with an idea for speaking keynote for each of the conferences, right? And then blog post and lead market ideas for problem education and potential partners and alliances to educate the market and position our brand as a go-to brand in the mind of the customer through third parties, through those partners analyze. All of this is AI generated for the problem education stage. You also have some prompts. You also have access to some prompts about questions that the buyers ask themselves to hold the purchasing decision when they are seeking for solutions. So first, the customer and the buyer understands that they could have a problem. They acknowledge it, and they say at some point, okay, we're going to budget this problem. We're going to solve it and make room for a budget in the next year. That is if they are mainstream buyers. If they are early adopters, they're just going buy it because they are not risk averse, and they will make they will make the budget that it needs to be done. But this, I'm asking the AI to get a list of the potential objections in the buyer's mind. So we create content to answer all those objections during the solution discovery phase. and the same content to educate about solutions. So solution education, then we get the customer in the purchasing decision. We're one of the top 3 vendors. Who is the buying committee? We're asking the AI to brainstorm who could be the buying committee. And I say could because the AI has not the last word, right? So I still encourage you to keep researching, not to trust 100% the AI. The AI at the end of the day is someone to use a lot for brainstorming and to, let's say, streamline and to accelerate the research. But the AI is not a decision maker. That they should not have the responsibility that we have. And we still have to go through our process of thinking of making the decisions and take responsibility of what is the strategy moving forward and what do we do, right? So the AI for sure is accelerating this journey, but we are the responsibles of making these decisions and understanding if, well, they could be wrong or not. What are ways to reduce the risk perception during the purchase decision? Also, this is a brainstorm, how to reduce the risk perception. It could be through a proof of concept, through a freemium trial period, custom demonstration, or an implementation workshop. And then we have prompts. You have prompts about product adoption, which is once they buy, to help the customer to adopt the product, because the sooner they adopt the product, the sooner we will have a happy customer testimonial, a happy customer case study, and most importantly, the sooner we can upsell or cross-sell. So adoption is everything when we want to expand growth into the customers, right? So here, for example, I have created prompts to understand the customer adoption path. So we can think about packages that we can then upsell and package our solution in a way that we upsell once that, and in a way that follows the maturity of the customer in terms of the different use cases that they are executing in their workflow. A training plan for end users to increase adoption rates. So this is a prompt to create a training plan with lessons and recommended tools for implement this training plan to drive and increase the adoption rates. The sooner we increase the adoption rates, the sooner we can ask for our introduction, a testimonial, a case study, or upsell, cross-sell. So the sooner we will put that flywheel of growth. Because the next step is solution diffusion. Once the customer adopts and is happy with our solution, the idea is to encourage the customer to diffuse, to talk about our solution and to help us. So here we have prompts. You can access prompts to incentivize warm introductions and references from existing customers and incentivize testimonials and case studies. There are more things that can be done. I'm still working on all these prompts to automate the brainstorming of all of this, but these are so far the prompts, and I hope that they help. Well, all in all, more than 50 prompts along all the different steps. We went from strategy, where to compete, positioning, and how to compete, right? And yes, I hope that this has been helpful for you. Now, let me switch my screen and we're going to start with the Q&A real quick. Before we start with the Q&A, I want to remind you all that next week, this is a set scratching the surface. Next week, I will be starting my top-rated AI course, AI Accelerating Market Research. With this coupon, you can save $100 and get a free 30 minutes one-to-one consultation with me. We will be starting next week, and it will run through 2 weeks, 3 hours of learnings, and everything is a live workshop. So it's not like this, in which I just throw everything and then you try by your own. It will be workshops in which we will have 20 minutes each workshop to practice by yourself and then ask me questions. So we will be working together. Okay. I have here do and don'ts. So what I'm going to do is share this because you will have the recording, right? Then you can go to this part of the video. You can stop the video right here, right now, and then read the do and don'ts because I'm running out of time, right? So do and don'ts, and then you can take these prompts and move them to ChatGPT or the LLM of your choice. Actually, I like it more in ChatGPT because the answers are better. Q&A, please drop your questions in the chat. Let me go through the chat all the way up. See what questions have you been asking. And in the meantime, please drop all your questions in the chat. I think that the question about the Notion template is already answered. Thank you, Albert, for your help here. Albert 10 question. So Notion AI automatically takes into account text from above as you generate AI queries. That is exactly what it does. So it's going to take contextual section into account and then answer the prompts based on what is above the prompt. Now, what is the bad part of this? The bad part of this is that if you have several prompts, like we have, let's say that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 prompts. The first prompt is going to take the contextual part, but the second prompt is going to take the information in the first prompt plus the contextual part. The third prompt is going to take the information of the contextual part, the first prompt, and the second prompt, right? So the bad thing about Notion AI is that it doesn't discriminate the prompt. So if you want to ask the information generated by a prompt, because it will take everything in a page as context, even though it has been generated by AI. Now, how do you solve it? So the way you solve it is to duplicate that page, remove the prompts that you don't want, and just run the prompt that you want. Okay? Is there a way for you to see the prompts in the Notion document you share? Okay, so let's say that we have here, this is a question generated. Okay, so step by step, this is an AI generated answer. You put your mouse on top of this answer, you will see this popping generated by AI 20 minutes ago. Then you can click on update, which means it will update the answer, or you can click on this arrow. There's an arrow here. We click on the arrow, the prompt will show in the bottom, right? You can do two things. I encourage you to copy and paste it and move it to a prompt guide or wherever. You can even change the prompt and add here more text, right? You can refine it. Here's the new text. And then once you update the prompt, you can, again, click here to update it and recreate the answer. Now, if you want to take it to ChatGPT, you just take it and copy and paste it. The same for every prompt, right? Same way, okay? As said, for this to happen, you need to duplicate the template. So you should be able to duplicate the template by going in some part here to duplicate. Actually, it's here, right? Command D is for me. So you duplicate it, and then you will have this template in your own workspace. And once it's in your workspace, you can change the prompts, copy and paste them, update them, change everything you want. More questions? Will you be sharing the recording? Yes, you are going to get in your inbox the recording as the discount code for the course that I'm starting next week. Maven will send it in the next 48 hours. It will be automated, and Maven will send it to you all together, the record and the discount. So you recommend us to do research first, then use AI. Are we relying on AI to do the analysis? Don't want to be too reliant on AI for analysis. Exactly. Okay, so when I use AI to don't start from a blank page, right? So when I onboard a new client, instead of going through all the customer interviews and the team interviews, so I run interviews to learn everything about that product and to get up to speed. But before I will start with interviews, I will have a white page, blank page with nothing. I will start with the interview, and by the sixth interview, I will have patterns and understanding or on how is everything going, what's the product about, the context, everything. Now with this, I can get up to speed and then ask better questions in my interviews. So I'm not saying, hey, remove your interviews, don't do your research. This is helping me to accelerate my focus on the interviews, accelerate my focus on the research. So I use this right away in the first day because I can run all these prompts real quick in less than half a day. And I have plenty of information to inform the questions that I want to ask. So the interviews are more focused for me, right? So before having the AI, I will have to run through different rounds of interviews. First round of interview, understanding and narrowing down everything. Second round of interview, it's a more focused interview on another type of questions, right? To build the positioning strategy and all of that. So I can avoid one round of interviews because this is providing me with a lot of information to focus those interviews and to ask better and more informed questions in my interview. But I don't remove my interviews. and I don't remove in-depth research. Okay. All right. Hallucination. That's a great question. Great question. Hallucination. So there are different kinds of questions. When we are researching to check on hallucinations, I always ask for the source. Sometimes you will click on the source and the source won't exist. So it's a made up source, right? That means it's an hallucination. Then when the most dangerous hallucinations are the ones regarding a specific of pain points and jobs to be done, because that's basically how customers behave. It's impossible that the AI knows how customers behave. So what I do is run the prompts, get some ideas from the AI to understand the customer scenario. So I will do customer research, interviews or jobs to be done, surveys, because it's the only way to understand if those pain points are right or wrong. If customer behaviors by AI are right or wrong, is by doing primary research, asking questions to customers and asking questions to the ecosystem involved in the market category. And then hallucinations about brainstorms. The way I use AI, for example, for pain points, jobs to be done, or for creating the ecosystem, or for the last part of the go-to-market for brainstorming, I still go through my thinking process with my team before delivering anything to the customer. If you are working with an internal team, you want to think by yourself and don't just take this 100%. So everything should be double checked. Now, the safest way to check for hallucinations is always to ask for resources. And Notion AI is not the best tool for that. ChatGPT, Perplexity AI are great tools to ask for references on their way of thinking. Another way you can is ask the AI specifically about why they are answering this way. What is their way of thinking? What makes them think this way, the AI? And then with the answer, you can have a more, let's say, certainty of how the AI is thinking and if they are hallucinating or not. Exactly, Albert. Notion AI doesn't have an internet browsing enabled, but ChatGPT has browsing capabilities. That's why ChatGPT is more powerful for some of these use cases. Even and Perplexity is even better, right? By hallucinations, what we mean is a very well-known issue that the AI has, which is these models are making up answers just to please the end user. So I would ask a question, and if the AI has not, let's say, a certain answer, the AI will invent something just to make me happy, right? And that is not an accurate answer. It's an answer that it can make me fail to deliver to my clients, or it can make my business fail. That's why we have to be very with an eye close to potential hallucinations. That's what hallucination means. Chris, tactical question on using Notion. If we want to repurpose the template, we duplicate it and we reverse the context from step one and turn all the prompts. Yes, you can change whatever you want. You can change everything. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your feedback. This has been it. As a friendly reminder, and encourage you all to check on my course next week and also to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm all about networking, so I will be more than pleased to connect with you. We never know when can we help each other. So thank you so much for all your time. I hope this has been a very valuable session for you, and you will be receiving in the next 24 to 48 hours this recording session in your inbox and the discount in your inbox also. Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch, please. Talk soon.